as with all videos, don't be so serious. Stop taking everything so seriously. Now this video is, of course, just going to be about how to deal with difficult people, which I've done before, so it might rehash some of the same stuff. And of course I'll discuss what's a Poe, and if I remember, Darwin Awards. Now the thing is though, this might have somewhat of a political slant. I'm not going to bash liberals or conservatives or any of that stuff though, because I really could care less about either side. I mean, the extreme right, extreme left, I could care less about either side. It's just like the horseshoe theory. The further you go to the right or left, the closer they become, meaning, they act the same. And, of course, to go with the, how to deal with difficult people, or rude, horrible people, basically think about it this way. And it's the same way with the politics crap, all this garbage that people are doing. If you're walking by a yard, okay, a dog rushes the gate and starts barking at you. That's all it's doing is barking. Are you going to sit there and get this close to the dog's face and yell, "Why are you barking at me? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Why are you doing this?" Are you going to do that? Or are you going to walk away? And if people seeing you do that, how are you going to look to them? Think about that. Because here's the thing. Who's the greater fool? The fool or a person arguing with a fool? And also, if you argue with a fool, people from a distance aren't going to be able to tell you apart. Think about it. You have Antifa and you have the people they call Nazis. Basically anyone they disagree with is a Nazi. Okay, and they're arguing. You see them fighting, how they behave. Can you really tell the so-called Nazis, even when they are actual white supremacists and Nazis they're against, can you really tell the two groups apart? Seriously, could you ever tell them apart? Of course not. And then you have, of course, that Berkeley riots and stuff like that, where it's just plain Antifa, and the other people just, please just leave us the hell alone, because, at that time they were unarmed and Antifa was armed. You go to YouTube, you can watch all that. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. They basically are trying to create a Lords of the Flies thing. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's make the whole world like this. Where they eventually burned the whole freaking island down to get one person they did not like, they disagreed with, even though he was right the whole time. You deal with someone at work, someone, they yell and scream at you, they get in your face, trying to tell you off, tell it like it is, okay? You get those idiots. Or on Twitter, somebody says something that you find offensive, so you respond back. Okay, what happens? They respond back to you in kind, and you both fight and argue, blah, 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 blah. Let's argue and fight, blah, blah, blah. Let's argue and fight. I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're an idiot. Blah, you're an idiot, you're a libtard, you're a conservatard, you're this, you're that, you're a Trump-tard. I didn't vote for Trump. I don't hate people that do. That's their business. If they liked him, that's fine. I don't think any less of them. But anyways, this and that, blah, going back and forth. Just like when you're arguing with a person at work or in school or whatever, it's the same thing, Now, I want to tell you what's going on, okay? You two are arguing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Neither of you are going to win the argument. Even if one of you leaves the argument and thinks you won, neither of you actually won, because each of you thinks you won. Here's what's happening, though. Okay, you got somebody who's just watching and laughing and enjoying your argument and fights. There are people who go to YouTube, they love watching Antifa and the free speech people, or they go to Twitter, they love seeing all these people fighting and arguing because they love it. It's entertaining to them. And the only people that really benefit with this political climate going on, where people can't really speak their feelings because the other side, and both sides are guilty, because the other side might get offended. The only people that are winning, because when people argue like that, they're basically separating us, and as we fight, are the business conglomerates, the wealthy bankers, all those people. The politicians, forget the politicians. They're there to give you the illusion of choice, and believe me, you have no choice. And yeah, I stole that from George Collins. Check out George Collins' videos, please, about education, why education sucks, and about who the true owners of America are. Please do that. Some people, they get upset because the Southern Law Poverty Center put a picture of, a white girl carrying an American flag and a shirt that says free speech, and she has something else in her hand. And people call it white supremacy, act like it's white supremacy. Of course, you have to prove that there is such thing as white supremacy or patriarchy. No one's done that yet because they can't prove it, You're not going to prove something like that because it doesn't exist. It's not like science. You know, science, you have to prove your theories to get them published. And other scientists are going to check your work. But anyways, what's next? Are these going to be the next race symbols? Racist symbols? After all, the Southern, what's it called? The Southern Defamation League, or whatever they're called that Pepe the Frog a race symbol. So what's next? This? Maybe the Joker. Whether the person's a theist, right-wing, left-wing, they're all guilty of it. And anytime you argue, other people are enjoying it. I'm not saying, I do get some enjoyment. I do get enjoyment. Okay, I do. I do not get enjoyment from violence, though. I don't, that is just utterly stupid. So I just don't even want to see that, because I think people who got to fight, if you got to fight to prove your point, then you have no point. You're just a violent, nasty person. And if you see someone getting violent, that does not invalidate their ideology. It just invalidates them as a person. Especially if they're one of those garbage that has a gun inside of a car and run down a bunch of people because they disagree. Or plant a bomb on them and blow a bunch of people up because they belong to the wrong religion or don't belong to their religion. And all the other nonsense stuff we see in this world. But generally, do not argue with people because you are not going to win that argument. They are not going to win the argument. You're just going to end up going back and forth or maybe even getting in a fight and going to jail, and it's not worth it. Now, let's move on to a Poe. Some of you know what a Poe is, some of you don't. Basically, a Poe is you can take any ideology or religion or whatever. You make a parody of it. But the thing is, though, that parody, because the ideology or whatever is so disgusting, like Nazism, Antifa, and some of the fundamental Christians or Islam, because it's so accurate depicting that ideology, people really cannot tell the difference. It's like if I got up here and said, I'm tired of people blaspheming my religion. You're all going to burn in hell and all that stuff. You know, I'm parodying the way Christians behave, well, what they would say. You can't tell that I'm doing it because it's a Poe. People have done this with social justice warriors. You know, you go to Magog and Mascar. He does a video on it too. And check out Logic, please. He does a good video on the Quran. He goes through all the verses that tell them to kill infidels and all that. He does a very good job. And check the Bible Reloaded, Quran Reloaded, and there's some others. But that's basically a Poe. You can. It's just that the view is so extreme that you really cannot tell that the person is joking or serious. Like for another thing is like Sarah Palin. Everybody actually believes that she said, I could see Russia from my house. Why do they believe that? It's because the way she speaks, the things that she has said, make her seem so unenlightened that she would say something like that. And of course, the Darwin Award. Most people, someone gets killed, they'll say, oh, that person got a Darwin Award. And sometimes I'm looking at it like, no, because you can go to, I don't know if that site still exists because it's been like a decade since I've been to the site. It's called DarwinAwards.com. In order to get a Darwin Award, according to that site, there's a few rules that have to be followed. First off, the person obviously cannot have any children. Because obviously if they have a child, they did not remove their genes from the gene pool. Second, they have to be 18 or over. So if a 16-year-old does something stupid, hey, teenagers do stupid things. So that does not count. Also, people with mental deficiencies. Someone who's, got certain things wrong mentally, they can't get a Darwin Award. Because, they can't help it. They got something wrong. They did something wrong. And, when you're on Twitter or whatever that stuff is, whenever somebody says something awful or anything, remember, a lot of these people, they're responding because they're more emotional than logical. They're not very logical. They're not critical thinkers. And, of course, they hate people that are for free thought. They hate free thought, some of these people, especially these Antifa types. They hate free thought. They don't want people thinking for themselves. Because that's what the people that are in charge of them, the bankers, the millionaires, the billionaires, and these corporate conglomerates, that's what they want. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you thinking too much. That's why they use these groups to beat you down. Think about it. If women or minorities do not agree with them, what do? They attack them pretty nastily too. That's why when you read, don't respond. Do not ever respond to people that you disagree with. That's my opinion, but just don't. You don't need to, and take a step back and just take a breath. You know, you don't need to respond to these white supremacists and Nazis and Antifa, social justice warriors, or anything like that. By stop responding to them, by you stopping that, then all they're doing is talking to each other. That puts them on the fringe of society, back where they belong, and nobody's going to care about them anymore. And that's the problem with like news, you know, where there's Fox, CNN, churches, theology, a lot of these type of groups. See, they have groupthink because they make sure that everybody in there working for them or attending their job or whatever, church, belongs to their ideology, their belief system. They get rid of anyone that doesn't, you know. Churches do it. It seems like these IT companies do it too, which is scary and sad. It's just, that's why you should read books, watch videos of things you disagree with. You might learn something new. The only person that can offend you is you. You have to allow yourself to get offended. You cannot get offended if you don't allow yourself to get offended. You just cannot do it. And a lot of these, you know, social justice warriors and everything, you notice how they have money? They tend to come from, you know, upper class, upper middle class and stuff like that. And they want to tell everybody else what should offend them, what should be bothering them, how they should live their lives. And you got these white supremacists. Where do they come from? Most of them are uneducated. They're just not all that great of people. Then you got others that just believe in free speech, free thought, and neither group really likes those people. And they don't even know what free speech is. Most of them do not. They think, well, if I show up to defend a statue with guns and bats and stuff, that's free speech. Or if I stop someone from doing that with bats, guns, and stuff, that's free speech. No, free speech is you say what's on your mind. You can say that, and then someone else debates you. You know, you just have a friendly conversation. Not you try to intimidate and insult people like that. You don't need to do that crap. You're just ruining free speech for everybody. And the media loves it because they want to limit our speech. You know, the people in charge, look at the media when they're done. You know, they pretty much tell you who owns them. Notice how it's like 6 people own all the media in our country. Just notice that, please. Do it. And watch those George Collins videos I just told you about. You know, it's under Life is Worth Losing, his entire video series. It's pretty good. I recommend it highly. Very educational. And stop falling for these people and just ignore them. Oh well, that's it. Bye. There's probably a whole lot more I'm going to think of, wish I said after I'm done, but hey, who cares, right? If you get offended, it's no one's fault but your own. You have to allow yourself to get offended. And don't let other people tell you what should be offending you. Stop being so easy. Because if people know that something offends you, they're going to offend you on purpose. If they know something bothers you, they're going to keep doing that. Because people are jerks. They're trash. Most people, I have noticed this. This is the reason why I try to avoid people as much as I can. You know, you're driving, they cut you off, you know there's no one behind you. They got to do those. They have to do that. You're merging, so they come right in the lane so you can't merge. Or a jackass in front of you, you're trying to merge and he goes as slow as he can. You know, you're trying to go around someone, they speed up to prevent that. And of course, people come with bats and stuff, yelling, screaming, shutting people down because they have different opinions. Or somebody says something they shouldn't. Instead of correcting that person, having a chat with that person, they want to get that person fired. They want to threaten that person's life, their livelihood. Even though you could just simply tell them, you know, maybe that's not an appropriate thing to do or say. You know, they just want to cost you your job or your livelihood or your future or whatever they want to do. It's just, people are, for the most part, it's best just to avoid them. People are dangerous. And just avoid them. I just try to avoid people as much as possible. You gotta be very, very, very careful about people. And just don't take things so seriously. You know, like, you know, you're driving, you know, like, for example, me, I have degenerative arthritis in my neck. I know that if I'm driving and I'm doing this, the jackass in front of me is going to think that I'm making moves or whatever towards them. I know that. I already know they're going to do it, especially when it's hot. So I put my hand on the dashboard to warm my hand because it kind of feels good when I do that, and then put my hand back there. It feels good. And I know the jackass in front of me is going to get upset. Is that my problem? Is that my problem? No, it's not. their fault for getting offended over something they shouldn't be offended about. Because that's what people do. Everything is an attack on them. They take everything personally. That's just how they are. Don't let that bother you. That's the problem with Antifa, social justice warriors, the neo-Nazis, and any other group. They take things way too seriously, and they purposely want to make your life a living hell. Don't let them do it. Because, I've had times, like I was driving a truck, I see smoke coming out, so I'm looking at that. Light's red, I'm behind this jackass, and my neck is bothering me, so I'm doing this, as I'm looking like that. And he's like, as I'm passing him, like I'm doing something to him. Or I had, another person flip me off because I was doing that. I didn't realize, because, a lot of times when you got neck pain like I do, and some of y'all know what I'm talking about, you don't always realize you're doing this. Because it's just something it's habit. And some jackass gets upset. Do I get upset with him? No. Because why should I? Some woman, I'm behind her, she cuts me off, and I let her go, and we get stuck. And she's constantly doing this every few seconds, looking back. And since I'm not a jerk like they are, I just wave, and then they look back, see that. And am I going to get upset? No. What do? I just wave again. Because that pisses them off more than if I did like this and honk my horn. If you ignore them or just like have a nice day, pisses them off a whole lot more. It's like what was it called? Total Recall, where Arnold Schwarzenegger's character is trying to get the case. The other lady tries to grab it. Says, "It was mine. Didn't see your name on it." He snatches and walks away. And her response is, "Fuck you, asshole!" And Arnold Schwarzenegger just simply turns around and just bows to her and walks away. Do that. That pisses people off more. They want you to respond in kind. They want you to show hate and anger because that's what they have in themselves. These social justice warriors, Antifa, the people on the extreme left and on the extreme right, these people where you work at or in school that constantly want to get in your face or bully or whatever, they're sad, pathetic little people that have to make your life miserable and everyone else's life miserable so they can feel good. Don't let them bother you. Don't respond to them on Twitter. That's what they want. Block them if they keep bothering. I don't believe in blocking people, but you don't need to listen to all these people. Do the Steve Shives crap. Of course, he just blocks people that he doesn't agree with. It doesn't matter because that's his type of person he is. Check out his channel. Check out Logic, because I think it's Logic does bus etiquette, Steve Shives, where Steve Shives believes that men should never speak to women or talk to women or look at women and all that stuff. If you do, you're sexist, because after all men are sexist, all white people are racist. That's what these people believe. But, go ahead. Just like, religious people, they're all sinners and heathens and they're disgusting and all this. They believe in God, but they choose not to worship Him. All that type of stuff. Where there's extreme, I'm talking about the extreme. I'm not talking about people who are liberal or conservative, Democrat or Republican. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are extreme right, extreme left. Because people that are closer to the center are easier to talk to. Just like, you have a lot of Christians and Muslims and Jews and Hindus and all these other people that you can speak to rationally. I already did videos about, the first step, is a person you can talk to, have different opinions, and they'll listen to you. If you give them enough facts and you can present evidence, they may or may not change their mind, but they listen to you. The second one is they'll say, yeah, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. They go away, again, examine your facts and stuff, but they'll listen to you. And then they go into the third one, which is usually persons when they start becoming more and more of a jerk. Is they're like, you don't know what you're talking about, you're stupid, you're a libtard, you're a conservative, you're a socialist, you're a communist, you're a Trump-tard, you're a Nazi, you're a monster, you're this and that, blah, 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 that type of crap. That's the third. The fourth is when they, of course, threaten you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cost you your job. I'm going to go after you. You're just too stupid to live. Don't have kids. You're a moron. And, they start doing that crap. The fifth and final is when they actually do stupid things like that. Actually will kill somebody. They get in a car, run a bunch of innocent protesters and stuff like that. It's just, people are too dangerous. You do not need to engage with them. No point in it. You're not going to win the argument. You think you are, but you're not. Okay? It don't matter what you say to these people. They're so extreme in their views. You're just not. I mean, anyone who's going to get offended by a white girl carrying a flag and wearing a free speech shirt, and I think she was carrying an ice cream or something, you know, calling that white supremacy and stuff, and upset about it, aren't people you should be speaking to. Okay? Seriously. Those people have lost their marbles. They went way too far, or, you know, too far on the fringe. Think about it this way. These professors, college professors, are leading a lot of these people, and of course they are doing it because they're being paid. The media is being paid by these billionaires, and everybody wants us fighting each other. Remember, these college professors, these people in the media, they're surrounded by everybody who thinks like them. Your college professors, though, they've lived their whole lives in college. Most of them. These people in media and college, you know, certain other groups, they make sure that they are not around anyone who thinks differently than them. And usually it's people who have money that do that. The more money they do, the more likely, because they don't care about you, they don't care about me. I don't care if you're a liberal, a conservative, Republican, Democrat, a socialist, whatever. They don't care about you. They just want to fatten their wallets. Please notice that. Bye. This video is way too long.